America, we have this idea that if you're not living the American dream or the American life, you're not living. And that's just simply not true. It's a lie. You have been hoodwinked. It's a lie. It's a lie, Craig. It's a lie. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mrs. A from Atlanta, Georgia. I have been living in and out of the continent since 2012 with my family and my 3 children. Starting out with 2 children, and my 3rd child was actually born in the continent, in Gambia. I went from working 14, 15 hours a day, having my own business in the U.S. I don't know if I said this, but by trade, I'm a licensed master cosmetologist, hair loss specialist, and also a health and wellness consultant. So for me, I went from making 80 to 100K in the U.S., just my business. And I think he mentioned earlier how much we were spending per month, 10 to 12,000 per month. I was able to live in the continent. I was able to be a stay-at-home mom. So I traded my independent, entrepreneurial business of 80 to 100K a year to being a stay-at-home mom. And that trade was worth it. Hi, welcome to our home. Follow me. So you're coming into the foyer, and this is our kitchen. We are currently in Bloubergstrand, Cape Town, Western Cape, and we are at the Horizon Bay Apartments. Our family is staying here temporarily as a vacation rental to get ourselves to enjoy the environment and the beauty of the continent. We just arrived here maybe a week ago. And so with that, we wanted to have a soft entry because we do have children. We wanted to expose them to that. And as we take our time to find a more permanent home. All right, you can follow me. So here is our eating area. It's a table for 4 where you can eat. And then here we have our living room, family area where we sit here, we talk, we enjoy movies together, just to have some good quality family time.
My name is Asa, and we are the Asanti family. I'm originally from Mississippi by way of Atlanta, Georgia. My wife is Mrs. A is from Atlanta, Georgia. This is DJ, my oldest son. This is AJ, the second. And then this is the boss of the family, Raya.
Say hi, Raya.
We are originally from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised in the U.S. We are now in multiple countries in the beautiful continent of Africa. We were in, where were we? Senegal first, right?
Yes, we started in Senegal.
And then from Senegal, Gambia. We lived in Gambia for a few years, and after Gambia, where did we hit to from there?
Botswana.
And then after Botswana, we rolled into South Africa. Yeah. And so only thing I can say about the continent, it is hard not to find a beautiful place in the beautiful continent of Africa. You can easily tell that God had his hands and ideas on designing this beautiful land. Mm-hmm. Knock down every building, get rid of every road. You still have the most beautiful land on the planet here. So it's been beautiful and a beautiful journey. We've been in South Africa. This is a couple of times we've been here, but now we're looking for a longer term that we'll be here in South Africa, specifically Cape Town. We were in Johannesburg. Mm-hmm. We were also in, what was that area called on the east side?
East London.
Summerstrand. Yes. So Summerstrand was really, really nice, and we enjoyed it very, very much. So we've taken our time. We've gone from the west side of the beautiful continent of Africa For a moment, they were in the east side on the transit, but I've lived on the east side of the continent, and now we're on the south part of the southern part of the continent.
And I'll bring you here. This is a communal restroom area. And this apartment is 3 bedrooms, just to let you know. And so this would be the one of the guest bedrooms. As you can see, my daughter's there enjoying a show while we're doing the video. And you can come in. This is one of the main bedrooms here. And it has its own en-suite bathroom as well. And then you also get a view here. A view of the beautiful ocean and a view of the city. And from this room, you can also transit over to the family room. And here you also have a beautiful, what is this, 6-seater table. So we enjoy this space a lot. We come out here, we eat our breakfast, you know, enjoy the sunrise, and then at night we'll come out and talk and enjoy the sunset. So very beautiful spot that we take advantage of. So you come through, and then you're back into the family room. And then continue to follow me. There's one more bedroom, the 3rd bedroom.
My name is Asa. I'm originally born and raised in Mississippi, the South, the real South of America. And I've been in and out of the continent, maybe about 30 years now, maybe a little bit longer. Family was here before me. So it's been a beautiful journey. Really have enjoyed myself in the continent. I've worked primarily as my profession is a tax and estate planner. So I worked as a professional tax advisor and planner for 25 plus years, estate planning, business and corporate creation. Then I moved into mortgages, working as a mortgage processor and underwriter, and kind of anything that dealt with real estate and kind of building a legacy for your family, which was a primary goal of the thing. Taxes was originally a part of my family's business, starting in 1967 with the taxes and with real estate and estate planning and actually farming. Father started the business in 57. So those 2 businesses still exist today, and that was the experience I had. Now, from a community activism standpoint, I worked as a life coach and a guide. I was raised in Mississippi in a Pan-African, pro-African, Black nationalist community. So we have our professional side and our communal development side. And so I've really enjoyed how connected we are as a people, whether we're in the continent or we're in the diaspora. So that gives you a little bit of a background on my business and my professional. And we've enjoyed building here in the beautiful continent of Africa. We've been, I was in Sudan for a while, Egypt, since Israel is actually on the continental plate of Africa. I was in Israel for a while, Morocco, then Senegal, Gambia, Botswana, and now the South Africa. So really enjoyed it.
It goes back, you know, it's a 20-year story. It's almost 20 years that we've been on this journey. But our initial reason was because we felt like the continent would be a better place for us to live as a family and for us to raise our children. Both of us being Native African Americans, and all the things that we were exposed to, things that, you know, we had, our ancestors and our family members had gone through and experienced. And up to present day, you know, just the way The value of family, the ability to be able to raise your children in a environment that is built around your ideas and ideologies. All of these things we took into consideration in our decision to move to the continent. Now, me being from Atlanta, Georgia, like my husband, you heard the extensive travel that he had done. I had not done that travel. So I was introduced to the idea and the thought of moving to the continent through him. And that was something, it was huge for me. Like, he had the experience and I did not. But what I had to lean on was that this man, my husband, had a vision. And when he explained to me the vision and the path that he wanted his family to go as a leader, I had to really process that and sit with it. And after I sat with it and thought about it, I'm like, wow, this is amazing that there is someone in this day and age that exists with the mindset that he has to relocate and to live and raise his children and family in a continent, and specifically the continent of Africa. So yeah, it's been a journey and it's been a process. But that is and I would say one of the, a short way to say, our reason why. And I'm sure he can elaborate on that more as being the head of household, why he had this vision for his family. But yeah, I wanted to be in a place where I could raise my two young sons who are African American, and in a place where they are celebrated, where they are nurtured, where they are appreciated. They're not treated like a criminal just by the way they look or how they choose to wear their hair or what clothes they, choose to put on. They are looked at as a human being, and they are looked at as something special. When my children here, whenever we go out, people look at them as something special. They are happy to see them. They embrace them. And that is not something that young Black males receive in America. Not if they don't receive it in their, I was about to say your immediate family, but they don't really receive it in your immediate family. So it took for us to come here to really to have that sense of pride, and have that fed. We are a prideful family, but for that pride to be celebrated and appreciated and acknowledged is huge, living in the continent.
Why did we choose the beautiful continent of Africa to move to versus just America? Keep in mind, it's not an either or for us, it's both. Our ancestors built what is now America, free labor for 400 years. They lived, they died, so that is a part of our inheritance. So we're not giving it up. But at the same point in time, when you go past 500 years, then we're here. Mm-hmm. And we were here for tens of thousands of years. So Africa is where life started, it's where it ended. And because I was raised in a Pan-Africanist, Black nationalist community in Mississippi, there was always a discussion of how beautiful and how great Africa is. This is what I heard. We're talking about the great inventions and the great things that were done in Africa. So, I mean, it was just like a Chinese man who was born in America, never been to China, but he heard all the great things about China. Like, mm-hmm. I'm going to China. So that's how Africa was for us, getting there and building there so that we have a stable foundation there, as well as maintaining those things we have in the U.S. and building on an international foundation. So it was really, really important for us to do it. And again, just to give a little bit of background, people hear that, hear the Black nationalists, the Pan-Africanists, and that was suppressed a lot in the United States from the 60s till now. They've suppressed those communities. So you don't hear that much from them and a lot of people that's from there. But even though I came from that community, there wasn't a lot of people in my family that agreed with me moving and relocating to Africa. Mm-hmm. So it was like, even though we were raised in Black nationalist community, we heard all of the positive things I heard. Many weren't interested. They're like, you moving where? You going where? And these are my brothers and sisters. Some of these are my brothers and sisters. There was a concern about my safety. America, the educational system does a lot to put fear when it comes to Africa. And where they don't put fear, they put ignorance, meaning there may be nothing about it, no information. So, that was the thing we had to overcome. There was some support that I had. Some of the support that I had were uncles and extended family members that were moved with the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army in 67 and 74 into the continent. So I was able to lean on people like that. Just like you do if you want to be, I use the example, if you want to be a gangster in America and your family, you go focus on the OGs who are gangsters in your family to learn from them. Even though not, your mother and your grandmother are big churchgoers and trying to live as holy as possible. For me, in my family, I focused on those who were Black nationalists, who were Pan-African, who said, let's get this done. Let's get you to Africa. And that's how I ended up here with the goal of building. Now, again, one unique thing about it is all my grandparents, up to my seventh grandfather on my mother's side, was born in the U.S. But that seventh grandfather was born here in the beautiful continent of Africa, brought to the United States by way of kidnapping, right? So there's always that. We were taught that coming up. So we want to get back. We want to make that connection back, right? And so we were always excited about it. It was always an option. Every other country around the world, the Chinese are here, the Japanese are here, the Indians are here, the Europeans are here, and they won't leave because where life begins is where life is going to end. It is wealthy, the land is wealthy, and the opportunities are right. So there's no reason not to be in the continent of Africa. It's about finding the spot and the place where you fit best, that you can benefit the people, and they can benefit you, and we can create a synergy and build with each other.
And the special thing about this room is that it acts as its own studio. So if you come in, it has this full wardrobe. Each room has its own wardrobe, and you can see that in the footage. And here you have a 2-seater table. You have a little kitchenette where you have your fridge, microwave, tea kettle. And then you also have a full ensuite bathroom as well. And this room also has its own private balcony, which I think is a huge treat and addition to the space. So once again, you get a beautiful view of the mountains on this side and of the city. And then here, you get a beautiful view of the ocean as well. So you get the best of both worlds. For this in the U.S., I think that you would be paying for a beach home, vacation home. I think you'll be paying upwards of like $3,000 plus for something like this. Maybe close to $4,000 a month. But here, living in the continent, you're able to enjoy the finer things in life at a more discounted rate. So this is like I said, a vacation rental. And so it's not long term. So we are paying around $2,000 for a month. But we're looking to move into a more permanent space, which will have more space than this, and you'll be paying a little less than that. So that just kind of gives you an idea. My first impression of the continent, with me not have ever been here back, and like I said, this journey goes back almost, 16 years since I have been traveling back and forth to the continent. So my first impression as a newbie was amazement. I was mind blown at how I had been sold and told a lie about the continent all my life, and how when I arrived there, just the beauty of the land, of the people. I remember walking down the street and seeing people that looked like my relatives. And I said, oh my goodness, that looks like such and such. And my husband's like, yeah, we're all the same. We're all one people. And that really like did something to my mindset and my idea of what people are in the continent and how it showed me myself. I was able to see myself in the continent. So that was a huge first impression for me. The environment, the land, the people.
Don't forget, we would go to some people and we still thought the person would be from the U.S.
Yes, we would think that they were from
We
the
like,
US until
what
they
part
start,
of the U.S. you from? And the
Right.
brother's like,
and until they
I'm
started
born and raised
talking,
here.
and vice versa, they would do the same to me.
Mhm.
They would think I was a local or a native born person until they heard me talk. That was the only thing they get, and I still get that to this day. And like I said, I've been traveling in and out of the continent for the last 16 years, and so that experience just grew. And so that was Senegal. Gambia was a little bit more, it was smaller, it was more rural. Senegal is more developed than Gambia, but Gambia had like this small town, small country town, rural feeling. And there I was able to really form community and friendships and relationships with people that, I never thought I would be able to have relationships with. I mean, I'm talking about, I met people, local people. I met people from the UK, people from Jamaica, people from all other African neighboring countries, from Ghana, Nigeria. I mean, my diversity in friendships and relationships is so vast at this stage in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. So my overall experience has been, I would say, growth, expansion, just opening my mind and my viewpoint of what the world really is and what it consists of, and how beautiful it is all over the world, and that people are living their lives. Because we have, in America, we have this idea that if you're not living the American dream or the American life, you're not living. And that's just simply not true. It's a lie. You have been hoodwinked.
it's a lie.
It's a lie, Craig. It's a lie. as they say. But yes, it is nothing far from. It could be nothing further from the truth that people are living lives on their terms, in their way, living their cultural as the basis and foundation. Family is quality lives. Family is a huge aspect of the continent, and I just really admire that about that they have maintained that as the foundation and the key, and something that they celebrate and uplift. So like the way they do business and the way they live their lives is around family, and that is something I had to get used to, because in America, that is no longer the case. It's about getting to the dollar, getting to the bag, as people like to say. It's about working as many hours as you can work. And YouTube, television is raising our children, microwave dinners, and just not that quality. That quality is no longer there as it should be. And so with that being the case, and this is little Araya here. Say hi.
This is a Gambian born
Yes,
baby
and
right
Araya
here.
was born in the beautiful country of Gambia, and she is 3 years old, and we had a beautiful experience there with her birth, which was something that I was getting to as I moved, continued to move to the continent. We went on to Gambia, and then in Gambia, I found out I was pregnant with Araya, which was such a beautiful gift. We're so grateful for her.
Proof that you can have a healthy baby
You can have
in
a
Africa.
healthy baby there.
Healthy, safe baby in Africa.
And initially, I will admit that I was nervous and I was scared, because that was something I had never done. My other 2 children were born in the U.S., so this was uncharted territory for me. This was something I had to, really like wrap my head around, that I was about to bring life into the world, into an unfamiliar territory. And then not having my doctor there, all of that. But with my husband, letting me know that, reminding me that we didn't come all this way and this far to just, feel like we needed to go back. let's embrace the experience and the opportunity, and that we, we more than likely can find what we need there. And that's exactly what happened. We started doing tours of the hospitals,
interviewing doctors.
interviews, and so the comparison to the birth was
Well, let me throw in that real quick. Oh,
of
yeah,
what it
very
would
much a
cost.
fraction. Remember, my background is in accounting and finance. So the first thing I did is the reason we were going to meet the doctors and go to the hospital is so we could get the prices so I could know what I'm looking like. What am I have to go, am I going to have to go borrow some money or do I have enough money? The cost of the hospital stay and everything was maybe 10% of what we were used to in the U.S. To give you an example, she had a cesarean or a C-section. She stayed in the hospital for about 4 days. We had a private room with her a private bed, me a private bed, a private sofa bed, television with Netflix, a refrigerator. Did we have a microwave?
Yes.
We had a microwave
It
and
was
all
a
of that.
full studio suite.
Full studio, private nurse, all of her medicine, all of the baby care, all of the things they did to the baby. We may be looking at about maxing out at $1,000 US. In the US, we'd have been looking at about at least 40, 50,000 to be nice. Yeah. And that's being nice. Anybody that's in the US, they know that was back in 2009.
And that was what
we paid about 40,000
and now
for the first child.
I know cesarean, yeah.
That was 15, 16 years ago.
Yes.
And that stuff is multiplied. So it's at least $60,000 safely in the U.S. And people go bankrupt and lose all of their money and things in the U.S. behind medical procedures. And so that was big that we were able to save that kind of money on medical. Then you look at other things. You got the medical, but you got the housing. Like, let's talk about housing for a moment. Now, when you talk about cost of living, keep in mind that right now we're in South Africa, right? South Africa is a little bit more developed. As she was saying, Senegal has Senegal and Gambia. Gambia is not as well developed, right? So South Africa is even a lower cost of living than Gambia. And the quality is even higher. But we had a great experience in Gambia with the medical. But let's talk about like housing here in a place like South Africa. The home that we're in right now costs us around about $2,000 a month. Now, we splurged on this one. This is a splurge for the area. It's on the beach. We're on like the 15th or 16th floor. Well, again, on the beach. It is fully furnished. The furniture is a part of our rental. Electricity is a part of the rental. The water, the security, the parking, everything. When I pay that $2,000, that's everything, and that's on the high end. You could really get places on the beach at a better rate and a better price, but we chose the splurge because we really wanted to be in front of Robben Island, right in front of Lion's Head and Tabletop Mountain, and so we're right here in the middle of everything is beautiful. So you can't beat the cost of living.
Hi guys, so we are headed out for a Sunday family fun day. On Sundays we generally try to do all things family, spend time together, catch up with each other. And because we're in a new place, we want to experience some of the family fun areas, entertainments that they have available here in Cape Town. So we are going to the Grand West Casino and Entertainment. And it's our first time going, me and the children. My husband went to do a preview to make sure that it was something that he thought the family would enjoy. And he said yes, so we're excited to go see what's available. So here we're, since we're new here and we're learning our way around, we are using Uber, which I know you all should be very familiar with. And there is a safe and secure Uber ride sharing here, and affordable, a fraction of the price.
Okay, so to compare cost of living, monthly full gross cost of living here in the beautiful continent of Africa, specifically in South Africa, Cape Town versus Atlanta, Georgia, right? So in Atlanta, Georgia, we were generally going through about $10,000 to $12,000 a month for housing, food, automotive, transportation, insurance. etc. You name it, electricity, water. So we're doing around about $10,000 to $12,000 there. Here in Cape Town, we're doing around about 2,000 to have that 2,500 with our cost of living in comparison to the United States. Now, when you talk about the housing that we're in right now, this is a specialty housing that we have here. It is fully furnished. It is on the beach, 15th, 16th floor. All the utilities are included in that $2,000 per month, right? Another $1,000 on top of that would cover all of our transportation. Transportation, it just really depends. We were breaking down those numbers a couple of days ago. If we do Uber, like if we're going somewhere new and it's 30 minutes away, we're looking at about $7 or $8 equivalent to do about a 30-minute drive by Uber. But if a month, we're maybe putting out somewhere around about, with a family of 5, going all the places we want to. This is like wherever you want to go now. We're looking at about $400, okay? If we look at utilities here run on average for something like water, about $25 a month. We also have a home in Botswana, so I can also, they're in markets are like what and what. So water's about $25 to $50 a month. Electricity, again, family of 5, you're looking at about $100 a month. Here in South Africa, and again, that's everybody doing what they want to do. I'm really high on that number, so keep that in mind. That $100 is high. You're looking at insurance, auto insurance. Oh man, maybe $20, $25 a month for auto insurance. Food. Oh man, first of all, food quality. Y'all, you're tired of that genetically modified stuff. You come here, it's the real thing. Like you eat a strawberry, like, wow, I forgot that's what a strawberry tastes like. So, I mean, food costs here. Family of 5, you can easily stay somewhere around monthly, $500, $600, getting you some good quality food, okay? If you want to go out to eat. We went out and we had some steaks. The average steak meal was costing us about, for, let me say, T-bone I was eating. It was a couple days ago, and I had some shrimp on top of it, some prawns, really. I want to say that plate for me cost me about $9. That was a T-bone, prawns, mashed potatoes, a type of collard greens, and there was something else I had with it. And then I had this great little mixer tea, and that was about $9, $10 for that. So we were about everybody getting whatever they wanted, somewhere between $10 each and less. And that was at a very nice restaurant with very, very good food. So you can buy, those are your high ends if you want to go to those type of restaurants. But if you're eating at home, you get free delivery. So now here, they got free delivery. They also have Uber that'll deliver. So you can get your food delivered straight to your home. We did delivery just a couple nights ago. Entertainment. Let's see. We went to the movie. Family of 5, we're looking at about $4 per ticket. Excuse me, so that's $20 where the baby's not paying. So that's $16. We spend maybe another $10 in everybody getting popcorn, everybody getting a drink. So maybe about $25, and we went to see the movie Sinners. Go see the movie Sinners. But then to tell people you're in Africa in a lounging chairs enjoying movies for about $4 each is great. Okay, that's a good question there. Child care fees. Let me give you a little breakdown. Okay, we have a 16-year-old, we have a 14-year-old. So the 16-year-old, they're doing a kind of online classes that also allows for them to come in twice a week. So that one is costing us around about, that's about $150 a month for that. So each one of them is about $150 a month. What happens is the teachers come online with them, and then twice a week they can go into class and have it. So that's about $150 per month per child, the 16 and the 14-year-old. The 3-year-old, her organization, her academy that she goes to, I want to say she's around about, somewhere around $75 to $100 per month. Now she's only going, I believe, 3 days a week. And she has these different activities they do, gymnastics, different enrichment programs. So she's about somewhere around about $100 a month, maxing her out. And it's great. It's a great academy. So that cost of living and those things are about right up in there. They really have a great time, and the quality is very high. Is living here more affordable than in the US? Yes, it is, by a long shot. But it's not just the cost of living you want to compare. It's the quality of living. So you can have a low cost of living, but a low quality of living, and you're like someone from the US who wants a high quality of living, and you're not liking that, but your cost of living is low. Well, in places like South Africa, you can have a low cost of living, but a high standard, a high quality of living. It is so much better. And so with that low cost of living, we're looking at about 20% of what we were paying in the US. So that quality of living is really, really low, and really, it helps me because as things become more expensive, I'm able to work to provide for my family much easier than it would be if they're in the US and they're going through $10,000, $12,000 a month.
One of the things I've realized about spending money here and saving money is just the amount, the ability to do so, to do those things. Because the cost of living is much lesser than the U.S. and you don't have to spend as much, it allows you to save. Listen, I went from working full time, 50, 60 hours a week in the U.S. with my business to when we moved to the continent, back in the second time around we moved back, we decided that it would be more economical, and beneficial because my husband would have to travel more for me to stay at home with the children. So I left a 40, 50 hours, sometimes 60-hour work week in the U.S. and I was able, because the cost of living is cheaper and is less of, is more affordable, I was able to be a stay-at-home mom with my children. That's huge. And I know the mothers and the women that are, in that position can really feel that when I say that I went from working 14 to 15, 16 hours a day to being able to be home with my children full time, to give them the nurturing and the attention and the time that they needed as a mom. That was a game changer for me. I mean, it really allowed me to be able to spend that quality time, to give them the attention that they need to detail. So for me, the savings is that I'm saving my children from being raised by television or strangers. I'm saving money because I don't have to pay for transportation and things like that. I'm able to take that away. So there are a lot of savings and benefits that we have had from relocating from the U.S. to the continent.
The advice I would give to a person who's thinking about moving back to Africa, and specifically Cape Town, South Africa, the first thing I would highly suggest is you learn yourself.
Yes.
That is so important because you want to be more of a benefit to the community than a burden. And whenever you move to a new area, you're a new babe there. I don't care how you were moving in the US. This is a new system. You're not going to change the system. Okay, a country, a continent, a city of people, you're not going to come in and change their system. You're going to become a part of their system. And you should be thinking in that way. How can I be more of a benefit there? So you need to really learn yourself. Do you have that capability or that capacity? Do you have that skill set? At what level is that skill set? Mm-hmm. Do you need to learn some more skill sets yourself to benefit the community? Do you study the community enough to know that, right? That's important. Then you can step into, after you get your mind right and your psychological and social self kind of under control, knowing where you're going, learn the environment of where you're going, the city, the people, right? You should know something about it, right? If you're going to come to a country, you should know their greetings. Expect to say their greetings.
Try to learn the language.
Learn some of their things, right?
That they really appreciate that.
Yes.
When you come into their country and you're trying to learn their languages, they
Absolutely.
really appreciate that and admire that about people coming in, foreigners.
And I used to help people come to the, especially in the western part of the continent, except they're going to speak a language that you don't understand around you. And
Yes.
no, they're not talking about you.
No, they're not laughing at
They're
you.
not laughing at you. They're laughing at their normal daily things that they do. Get out of your feelings.
Yes.
They should not
Let
have
go
to
of the
speak
paranoia.
English. No, nobody wants is after you.
This is not the Chinese in America.
It's not.
That you feel is talking about you.
This,
you need to feel the need
and
to
this
go
is the
off.
point of detoxifying and getting to know yourself before you get here.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fighting with some Americans about that. Like, hey, they're not talking about you, and even if they are, so what? Okay.
They don't know you. And a lot of times, you know what I found? When I've had situations where people were staring and they were snickering, they were admiring me.
I mean, really?
They were admiring me.
You have the cute, funny accent.
Yes, they
Yay!
were. I don't know how many times I get stopped a day and someone says, "What accent is that? I love it. I love your accent. Where are you from?" They're intrigued. They want to know more about you. So a lot of times when you're thinking that somebody may be laughing, they're really admiring you. They're admiring your look. They're admiring the way that you speak.
Yep.
All of that. So yes.
And even if they're giggling about the way you say something or you speak, so what? I was in the U.S. and the Jamaican brothers would come with their accents, and I was like, I mean, everybody loved it. We giggled because we liked the way they sound. Say that again, bruh. Whoa. So it's okay. And then next thing, after you get that mentality together, let's get to the finances. You know, I generally tell a person that there's one or two ways you can look at your finances. You either need to save. I would suggest at least, somewhere between a year and 5 years worth of savings. If you're going to come to the continent of Africa and you're planning to stay long term, meaning over a year, you need to have at least saved a year to 5 years before you come here. Because you want to be a benefit, not a burden, right?
And you want to take your time. You want to take your time to be able to acclimate and really do the research that you need to find where you want to be in terms of living, what type of business you may want to start, and find out the need, what's needed. How can you be a benefit? How can you be that asset that my husband is talking about? What do the people really want and need? Because a lot of times Americans come with the idea of, oh, I'm going to bring this, and it's not needed here, or that idea or business won't work in the continent because that's not where they are. So you have to find out where the people are, where the country is, and what do they really need. And I think my husband and I were talking about this, and we said a good way for that to happen is you have to do discovery trips. Discovery trips are trips that you take when you take holidays. And you spend, we would suggest a month to 3 months in a place that you are looking to relocate. Absolutely. Okay? Because in 2 weeks' time, that's just like a vacation. You don't get enough out of 2 weeks to be able to say, oh, I want to live here and be here. You get, you may be excited about a place. You may be interested. It feeds that interest and that excitement. But to really know that if you can live in a place and be there, you need to do discovery trips, and not just one. You need to do several. Come at different times of the year, because in the continent, things are different depending on the time of year it is. Yep. And so if you come during a high tourist season, then you're going to get one experience, and if you come in a non-tourist season, you're going to get another experience. So we suggest that you do discovery trips. Pick your top 3 countries that you're interested in. Go there, visit 1 to 2, 3 times before you actually decide to move there permanently. And spend time, get to know people, and get to know the land.
The majority of our income was kind of what I was saying. We did a good bit of savings, right? And then we took that savings and we invested that savings into things where the savings could make money. So you have some passive income. That's very important. We have some real estate that we own in the U.S., and that has a little passive and rental income with that. So that's a key point right there. The second thing I would say, as far as earning money in the continent, depends on the market that you want to come into. But let's talk about South Africa. South Africa is a much larger, robust economy. Nigeria and South Africa are the two largest economies in the continent. They flip back and forth and what have you. But there's a lot of opportunity in South Africa. We look at particularly right now, we're looking at the housing. People need housing. So the real estate, renting, helping people go from renting to owning. So that's how we focus affordable housing. The next thing is what we call like gig businesses, where you're focusing on high seasons where people do holiday making, and you are offering a food shop and food services through those. Those are the two things that we find that really help with business here. So how much money we made in the U.S., has it increased and decreased, and how we feel about it?
Yes.
Well, for me, because I still travel back and forth and my income was primarily based on rental property, it still is there. A lot of the passive income is still there for me, which is what I highly suggest to people. Try to develop a passive income model. But if, as far as income here on the continent, there are Airbnb and some small rentals that I have here on the continent, and we've just been in the infant stages of seeing how that's going to create the levels of income that we want. But because the cost of living is so much cheaper and the quality of living is so much higher, if you're making $125,000 or $100K plus in the U.S., you only need about 20 or 30% of that to have the same lifestyle here.
And a perfect example is, like I said before, I went from working 14, 15 hours a day, having my own business in the U.S. I don't know if I said this, but by trade, I'm a licensed master cosmetologist, hair loss specialist, and also a health and wellness consultant. So for me, I went from making 80 to 100K in the U.S., just my business. And I think he mentioned earlier how much we were spending per month, 10 to 12,000 per month. I was able to live in the continent. I was able to be a stay-at-home mom. So I traded my independent, entrepreneurial business of 80 to 100K a year to being a stay-at-home mom. And that trade was worth it. I've been able to now that my children are older, I had my third child. She's 3 now, going on 4. I was able to nurture that and have 4 to 5 years at home with them, where I could really set that foundation and give them the things that we valued most as parents, to make sure that was instilled in them. So it was a positive trade for me. Letting go of that money to being able to be home with my children and then my husband, we able to live off one income. That's huge. We wouldn't have been able to. There's no way we could do that in the U.S. Not with the lifestyle that we were living.
Not to mention, we have family members that are still grinding over there, and they're still making over 100K, and their quality of life, they're constantly working, they're constantly stressed. Every penny they make, there's somewhere to spend it, and they're sitting back right now looking at us like, we really need to consider what y'all are doing, because it looks like you guys are getting younger and you don't look as stressed. And I'm like, aha, this is what we were saying from the beginning. So it's a beautiful trade. Do we feel more challenged or more free financially here in Africa?
I would say free, like we just said from the, transitioning from the last question to this one. We definitely feel more free. Like I said, the freedom of being able to travel and see the world on a fraction of what our living expenses were in the U.S., and we weren't able to do as much traveling. We did local traveling, but we're able to do international traveling by living abroad. The freedom of not having to be bogged down with a 40, 60-hour work week. It's just been a huge game changer.
Yeah. And then if I could just follow up real quick, when you look at the trade-off with not only your time, but your quality of life, it doesn't even come close.
It doesn't.
You don't even look back. Along with the beautiful continent of Africa, I can visit almost 7 different topographies, meaning I can go to waterfalls, I can go to a jungle, I can go to
mountain
ranges, I can do a safari, I can be on the beach, I can see the highest peaks you want to, and I can dive and scuba dive, and I'm all in one country or one area. And I would have had to travel all over the world to get that if I was in the U.S.
I said moving to Cape Town for me was like bringing the United States into one place. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how I would sum it up. Moving to Cape Town, South Africa, was taking the United States and putting in one place. I mean, there's so much. Everything that you would have to go to different states to do in the U.S., you have it in one place here.
And I would say even more. I would say it's better.
Yeah, it's more. It's
better. Because the mountains are nicer, the water is bluer, the water is cleaner, the animals are bigger.
Just the variety.
It's not a comparison.
It's amazing.
Oh, let me get at that one. How do we feel as far as raising our children here versus in the U.S.? Safety and everything.
Look, go back to free. We feel freer.
Liberty. We have the right to say what our children get to do and don't get to do.
Yes.
What they're exposed to and what we don't want them exposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself. And again, we said earlier, your child able to go somewhere, right? And there's a respect for your child.
Yes, not celebrate.
And just understand the difference between, you got different levels between respect, neutral, and disrespect, right? Mm-hmm. In the U.S., we can't even get neutral. My son is 14 or 16 years old, and he walks in a store, and the security guard, people looking at him, wondering if he's going to rob them. That's disrespectful, right? And treats them as such. Mm-hmm. We can't even get neutral in America, let alone respect it.
They're here, wear their hair natural and locks and things like
wear
that.
Their hair natural
and people like, admire
how
nice their hair looks. And, instead of the U.S., that's a stereotype. And, you
get some black folks in America that are like, why are you wearing your natural hair? Mm-hmm, I'm like, really? Why are they wearing their natural hair? It's the freedom and the positive lifestyle. It's hard to put into words.
The community aspect of it, being able to, like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes. And then be around a lot of people who want to become a village with you.
Yes.
That's a big one. People who say, hey, I'm interested in working and building with you. How old is your son again?
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to learn how we can build family together.
Yeah, that alignment of principles and things that, we believe in and the way we want to raise our children. You can find that here. That it's not frowned upon and
just keeping in mind,
judged.
We are comedic practitioners in our life. That's an ancient African traditional system, and so it's embraced here, right? Where in the U.S. everyone is more monotone. People don't believe it, but they want you to fit just one model. Here, they're open to you.
Yes, because there's so many different, diverse cultures here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That people are more accepting, and they just allow you to be you and do you.
And you see how everybody came out of Africa because everything is in Africa.
Yes, it was the beginning.
Mm-hmm. So has living in South Africa changed our outlook on how we see ourselves as parents?
Yes.
Yes, it has made us one. I would say we're proud of ourselves because we've exposed them to another opportunity and another style of life. Why live on this beautiful thing called a planet Earth and not expose them to more than one side, one idea of it? Just makes no sense. Okay? So they've been exposed to it, and then it causes us to have to look at things from a legacy standpoint now.
Yes.
Not from a just financial, but a larger,
Yes, the bigger picture.
Much larger legacy.
It has expanded our trajectory of what life could be for them and for us as parents. And another thing that we often have had conversations about is how it has changed the trajectory for our generations to come.
Yeah.
My husband and myself, we have broken the mold in our families of what life looks like living abroad and taking that leap. We are the first ones to live long term into this capacity in the continent.
Every time the children come back, they look at them in my family.
Yes, they're looking at them, checking them, making sure.
He sure looks healthy. I'm like, well, what were you expecting?
I'm like, yeah, they live a good life.
They live a good
they're
life.
Living
and
a
they're
good
looking
life.
better than many of the other children in our family.
Yes.
And so they begin to realize, wait, there's a good quality of life that's possible in the beautiful
Yeah,
continent
so
of
I know
Africa.
for me that has given me tremendous pride as a
Yeah,
mother
lots of
and just
pride.
as an individual to know that I have been able to break that stigma and the idea that, you know, life is not possible in the continent. And my children, they will see life totally different. They'll be able to go live anywhere because they've
And you use
traveled.
the word stigma. Let me throw another word in there. Breaking that curse.
The
When
curse, the
someone,
generational curse, yes,
someone
the
has stole
generational
you and
curse.
your ancestors from a particular land, breaking that curse by getting back there, I can't even put that into words. That's not even able to be quantified. Something that was snatched from them, now it's back. So it is
Yes.
a beautiful redemptive process
Yes,
for us.
I was about to say that
It- it's-
we are redeeming
we
our
are redeeming our ancestors'
blood
loss.
and yes,
So they can feel
and
that through
legacy.
us, right? We don't look for everybody to throw their arms up and hug us. Oh, welcome back to Africa. That's not their job. It's our job to do that redemptive process. It's our job to find the
have that
foundations
pride,
back up
yes.
again. And that's possible. And then once that's done, it's impossible to put into words. Ooh, sacrifices that we had to make, and what have we gained emotionally? You can go on start on that
Some
one.
sacrifices that we have had to make. Shedding the ego. Shedding the ego has been one of the hugest sacrifices for me. It has been one of the most humbling experiences. Shedding the idea of what I thought was and embracing the idea of what could be. And the idea of not knowing everything and having to relearn. So all the ideologies that I've had growing up and I was given and, you know, fed and misled and in some ways, not all, traveling and coming to the continent has really just opened my mind, and it just has allowed me to shed those negative thoughts and ideas about myself, and just made me realize how large the world is, how big it is, right? And how much there is to explore. And it just has made me excited about the possibilities. You know, I'm no longer afraid. I don't have that fear of going into a new place and not feeling like I can't make it. I feel like I can go somewhere and I can figure it out because I've had to do that time and time again as we've traveled around the world, and especially specifically in the beautiful continent of Africa.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I would add to it, like when you're talking about what was the sacrifices that we had to make, especially those who are heads of their household and are pushing this, there's going to be a lot of having a thing called faith in this process. You put the work in, you put the study in, but there's a lot of faith that you're going to have on the data and on the studies that you've had. You'll also lose a lot of your, as she was saying, ego. You know, brothers and sisters, as we come from the U.S., we're exposed to a lot of things, and sometimes we think we're the only ones that know something, right? But if you dare to give just a moment to allow an exchange to happen, you find the brothers and the sisters in the continent
Are
right
coming
there
with
with
it.
you.
Like,
You
yeah.
know, if you got this side, they got that side,
Yes.
right? You be like, wow, together we got a whole picture. And so that was amazing. That growth that we get from each other is impossible to put into words. And then, like she was saying, the ability to feel comfortable starting. So once you make those connections, right? Now, being raised in the U.S., you know, you have your certain way you want to live, right? But brothers and sisters from the city in the continent of Africa to the rural villages have said to me, hey, bro, you know, if you want right here, a little small little plot here, we got you. If you want up in the city, we got you. And so it makes me feel I've gained a lot of strength knowing that there's so many options for me in the continent. If I want to live out the more humble, attached lifestyle to nature, they got me. They're like, come on. And if I want to live that fast city life, they got me. Come on. And so that really put a level of assurity that we can do this. So you lose a lot of the ego. You have to work in a lot of a faith capacity after you do the work now. Not faith first, but do the work and then have faith in the work and the studies that you've done. And then once you've done that, then you develop those parts of community. It's amazing.
You use that, and you also lose that term, that I, me, and my. It
Oh
becomes,
yeah,
you start learning how to
yeah,
embrace and work in more
yeah.
of a community,
That's
and
why
learning how to
iPhone was
work with,
started in America, because
right,
all we focus on in America, all they teach you is I,
right,
okay, and me. But when you get to the continent, there's more of that us and we.
Ubuntu.
Yes,
Ubuntu. I am
yes,
because you are, and
yes.
you are because I
And then you
am.
got to study all of those beautiful things that the continent has. You know, how
Yes.
you're reaching back to move forward, right?
Yes.
You start learning all of these great things as you
Sankofa,
go.
yeah.
It is a beautiful thing here. Okay, so wealth and wellness, do we feel healthier, happier, wealthier here versus America? Quick little story. I'm carjacked in America. I was supposed to have been in the U.S., in Africa a month or so, but maybe 3 months before I was carjacked. So I was carjacked, I was shot, I was pulled out my car, I was dragged out of it. The same people that just got through shooting me put the gun back in my face. This is in Atlanta, Georgia.
People that look
Okay,
like him.
that look
Supposed
like
to be,
me.
yes,
Okay,
black people.
so I've had other people do some bad things to me, but it was all in the U.S. Right? So you asked me about my health. I've never had nobody shoot me in the U.S. I've never had no one
in Africa.
never had anyone shoot me, carjack me, take my house, take my land in Africa. Never. But I've had that happen in the U.S. So I feel happier. I feel wealthier. I feel safer. So that I can quantitate that with my own life and what I've experienced. I've had some very hard things happen in the U.S. that I had to just keep moving on because there was nothing I can do about it. When they took some family land of ours, the government came in and took it. Was nothing I could do about it. So we just had to keep on and keep working. So it was so much there. Here, I don't feel any of that.
Yeah.
Here, I'm at peace. I'm happier. Even making less money, I feel wealthier. Right? And so that's amazing to me.
Yeah, and for me, wellness comes from me being able to have accessibility to foods and to natural herbs and things that are organic. And organic, I mean grown from the earth, not GMO, not filled with chemicals, which is a lot of the foods and things. Even organic food in the U.S. is not organic. You can still go here and walk to the farm and see the animals. You can see the garden, the vegetables that are being grown, and knowing that it's coming from rich soil that has not been tainted and filled with chemicals. So wellness for me represents just a healthier life. I'm able to have fresher vegetables. I'm able to have access to the seafood, and different things are just higher quality and better quality than what I was getting in the U.S. So for me, that creates wealth, because wealth is not just money. It's about your quality of life. So I'm able to have a better quality of life here than I was there at a fraction of the cost, because organic food should not cost more than chemical processed food. That just does not make sense. But that is what the experience is in the U.S.
But I'm going to throw in there to this point. Unfortunately, when you look into the U.S. and how we've had to live there, we're sacrificing our lives, and we don't quantitate that into our thing. What I mean by we're sacrificing our life, she was saying she was doing 40 to 60 hour work weeks. I was on average at least doing 55, 60 and up on a work week.
Say more.
7 days. I'm trying to be nice about it. 70, 80 hour work weeks.
Yeah.
7 days a week and don't even stop. You're losing life, time that you do not get back.
Yep.
That's what you're sacrificing for money.
Time with your family, your children, each other,
everything. It's
everything.
sacrificed every day for money.
Then you get a 2-week
And
holiday.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And then on top of that, you look at your health. Had I stayed fully in the U.S., my blood pressure was running around about the $165 to $175. I passed out in the store on my break because I had to hurry up. So I ran into Kroger's, got some food, and passed out in the Kroger's because my blood pressure shot up. So I would have probably, unfortunately, passed away like some of my siblings have, because in the time I've been in Africa, I've had siblings pass away primarily for nothing but stress. So I can quantitate real life, and they were younger and healthier than me.
Yes.
I can quantitate in real life. I'm still living, and I live a more relaxed, calmer life, and allows me to live longer and live healthier. That's real, and that I don't even know how you put a price tag on it.
I had a family member say to me last week when we were on a call, we were just catching up and, what's going on in the family. And this was someone that didn't even understand why I was moving to the continent and why I had left. And she was hurt that I had left,
And
part
angry
of her,
with me.
and angry with him that, oh, you took her away from us, right? And so, but after years of seeing the life that we were living and that, things are good, she said, cousin, I have to admit, you leaving was the best decision you could have ever made.
Yeah.
And that really said something to me. It was sad, but it was also affirming that I was doing the right thing by myself, by my family, and by my extended family, because I'm giving them hope and letting them know that this can be done. And it also inspired her. She is in the process of getting her passport. Mm-hmm. She never had a passport, and she is now getting her passport because she sees me living abroad and living a good life and better life. So, I mean, guys, we could go on and on about the benefits. Of course, you're going to have your good and your bad and your challenges. But that's life. Tell me where you're going to go in life and not have those things. But it's all about the overall quality. And we definitely have enriched our quality by making this relocation.
And let's look at a selfish point for just a second. We know this as a fact. As China grows, the pride of the Chinese people all around the world grows. The respect of the Chinese people, even if they've never been born in China, even if they've never gone to China, the respect for them grows worldwide. As India grows, the respect for Indians worldwide, whether or not they've been born in India, ever been to India, they may not speak one word of Punjabi or Sanskrit or whatever. They still grows. As Africa grows, and we become a part of its development, the respect for us as a people, be us born in the continent or in the diaspora, grows. And if you can see it from just that simple, selfish perspective, that you want your children and your grandchildren to have more respect than you had, internationally and nationally, we need to work together to build the beautiful continent of Africa.
All right, and this is, what's your name?
Asanti.
Oh, Asa Safir. Look at the camera. And how old are you?
3 years old.
Oh, you're 3 years old. All right. And where were you born? Is it Gambia?
Gambia.
Yes. Araya was born in the beautiful country of Gambia back in 2021. Is that correct? It's 2022.
2022,
okay,
yeah.
2022. And so, so she doesn't know the U.S. She's been there to visit for a short period of time, and she is a U.S. citizen. But she was born in the continent, and she has lived in the continent all her 3 years. So I just wanted to share that with you all.
Born, raised, healthy, no problems. Every doctor that's checked her out from Gambia to the U.S. says, what are you giving her? And whatever you're giving her, keep giving it to her. So the idea of having healthy, beautiful children in the beautiful continent of Africa, here is the living proof right here.
Say hi, Rita.
Okay, born in a local hospital, great doctors, great nurses, excellent situation. We really did well. And she's
She's our little ray of sunshine. That's what we call her, ray of sunshine.
Living proof. She is healthy and very
and thriving, wise. Yeah.
Where do we see ourselves and the family in the next 5 years? Having a good piece of farmland that allows us to grow some of the natural things that our family uses is extremely important. We want to support some of the agribusiness that is here, as well as our real estate endeavors as far as building affordable housing for the locals. That's how, not the locals, for the continental-born Africans, the original Africans of the land, affordable housing for them. And what we call graduated housing that allowed them to go from rental to a rent-to-own process in case that works out better for them. That's very important to us. So that in 5 years. Having some land for our transition. So having land for our transitions, for our bodies, and once we transition, is very important for us here in the next 5 years. And very, very much so, by the time we get to that, I want to have a small little place for retirement. Small place. I'm talking about one bedroom. We don't need anything big, so that we can have that long-term goals covered for ourselves and those future things. So that's what we see ourselves in the next 5 years.
And
fully
also
in
just
state.
continuing to live a high quality of life, focusing on our health and
Yes.
getting those things, continuing to build on that and take care of those things and really how we need to. And also sharing some of the techniques and things that with other people who may be dealing with different health issues or whatever, because the quality of life is better, you have better exposure to different things. And my husband and I both, we have background in health and wellness, so we also want to share techniques and tools and products that we have found beneficial for us and our family to just help change, help improve our mental, emotional, and physical health, which is so important. Health is a part of the wealth aspect. And so at people in America, the things that we're putting in our bodies, the types of lives that are being lived in terms of, the fast pace, eating out, you really have to shift that. And all the medication, I have nothing against medicine, but I feel like it has its place. I think that we all need to get back to a more natural, holistic practices and way of living. And then if it comes to a point where you need the medicine, okay, you bring it in. But the way that Americans are just
drugged up
and numbed up by this medication it's killing us too. It's killing you mentally, spiritually, and emotionally.
So 5 years also having education centers.
Yes, training centers.
Trying to grow up and be like this YouTube channel right here. To try to grow up and learn.
Mr. Hafer was so
yes, we are
grateful.
So appreciative and we want to learn and try to be able to create education centers and opportunities for people in the diaspora to go through their process so they can learn how to get here and create a legacy for themselves and their family. What advice would you have for a family making the move to the beautiful continent of Africa?
Final message, yes.
Final message. You guys need to sit down and talk and study together.
Yes.
As a family.
Communicate. Learn how to communicate. Have those hard conversations.
Those disagreements.
Because generally we found that it's always one person that's on the fence. One is very passionate about moving and the other one may be a little on the fence or dealing with fear. And so have those conversations. Say that you're scared. Say that this is something you really want for the family. And figure out how to work within that, work through that. Because it's a part of it. Because you don't want to have to do that once you get here.
Yeah.
So really
sit down, talk, brainstorm together, right?
Yes.
Where one may want to be here for forever and the other's like, well, can we just only go for 3 months? And then you work out a plan and say, okay, let's do 6 months and let's see if we can get something established there and then go from there. But realize you must be on the same page in one way, shape, or another, have ironed out disagreements so you come up with something you can work together. And then you come here much stronger as a unit. That's so important. Woo! What would I say to myself if I could talk to me in the past about moving to the beautiful continent of Africa?
We should have done it sooner.
But should have done it much sooner.
We should have done it sooner. We should have dragged our feet as at times when we did.
Yeah. Overthinking too much.
It. Overpacking.
Ooh.
Don't overpack.
Don't do it.
It's already here. Everything you need is already here. Do not pack up your whole house. That's why I said
sell it there.
Yes, sell everything. You can find what you need here.
And if you don't want to sell it, put it in storage. Yes. Give yourself a 6-month timeline. Come here and see whether it's really needed.
What is needed. And then whatever you feel like you want to bring after that, then bring it. But do not spend all that money in shipping and packing and cars.
And all of these clothes and all of that stuff. No, furniture.
Do the research. Do the discovery trips. Come visit. Talk to us. Reach out to us.
This is what we would have told ourselves now. I know it sounds like we done gotten on to something else, but I'm going to tell you something shameful.
All the things.
I'm going to tell you something shameful. I ain't going to give you the whole. We brought at least a whole 40-foot container full of stuff.
At least.
Okay, at least. I'm embarrassed to say what we did bring. Okay, and none of it was needed.
So my first one is that the whole thing that animals are just roaming around freely. I mean, that was That's such a big one, and it's such a huge myth that, I've even went, I think on a trip, I was doing some research, and, this, unfortunately, European had said that, gave a story about a lion that she saw running past something, and it was so far from the truth. I think that must have been a scare tactic just to keep people away. Maybe they have people moles that they do that periodically to instill fear. No animals are running around. You actually go to a proper safari for that. You do deal with a little bit more natural wildlife, like insects and things like that, but nothing that is unbearable that you can't deal with and work through. It's nothing like what they're telling you.
Well, when you talk about insects, I've yet to meet insects as bad as Mississippi.
Well, that is true.
Y'all don't have insects here. We got mosquitoes in Mississippi this big.
And flies.
Okay? And flies that they have no respect in Mississippi.
Horse fly, they got the name.
Horse flies and deer flies in Mississippi. I ain't never come across nothing like that in Africa. And I've been around a lot of places. So the myth about like that is a big myth. But the biggest myth is the level of poverty they try to say that's in Africa.
Yes.
That's
a marketing strategy that the European has used time and time again.
Y'all
stop giving. I'm not going to say that. Stop giving your money.
Just stop that lie.
Instead of giving your money to the Europeans so that they can take the benefit of helping the Africans, come and help them yourselves. Bring your own money and figure out where it's needed and give it yourself.
And then you end up meeting the African that got more money than you do, and they be like, you need some help.
Yes, and that's another myth. Like the poverty, taking back off the poverty thing. There are a lot of wealthy Africans living in the continent.
And then some of them you don't know they're as rich as they are.
Yeah, you would
never
know. So
like this idea, you think like you see some of the Nigerians in Nollywood and they blinged up. No, there's some of them that's so rich and they walking around and you would not know it. You would not have any idea of it.
And they're controlling a lot of their own stuff.
Yes,
they are in charge.
So that poverty idea, that how can you be poor and you got all the diamonds under your feet? All the gold is in Africa. All the oil is in Africa. It's not poor. Only thing that can be happening is some outside forces and maybe some inside conspirators are making it where it's not getting to the people like it should. But that myth of poverty, whether it's materialistically or countrywide, is a big myth. Okay, well, we are putting together our family YouTube.
Yes.
So you will be able to definitely follow us on YouTube. Hopefully, the great creator of this platform will put our links and information in the description. And so you can follow us, get our phone numbers, WhatsApp, email. Because my background, again, is accounting and financing, also a life coaching and guiding perspective from a community activism standpoint. So it is important for my children to have people that's coming from the diaspora who get here successfully, along with us in integrating with the native-born Africans as well as we can as African diasporan. And so this is important to us, and they'll be able to connect with us.
Yes,
we'll leave you all of our information when you want to learn something, especially if leaders of families. I want to continue this conversation
more in depth
with you
and help those who are really serious.
And then a lot of the mothers who are questioning everything from health, wellness, to what we can do.
Taking care of your children.
Everything in between. She got you on lock on that.
Yep.
She's the better face, and I'm the get her done her, and she's the one that can make you feel and see where it all is, So we're going to have all of the information in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to this beautiful channel, though.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hayford, for the opportunity.
Absolutely, a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Oh, never forget, Africa is for Africans.
Yes.
At home in the continent and in the diaspora. Africa must be free from Cape Town to Cairo and beyond the sea. It must be provided for, protected, and free. Don't you ever forget that.
Yes.
Africa for Africans. Ashe.